The rain-slicked streets of Seattle blurred past the windows of Mateo's old Subaru as he gripped the wheel, his knuckles white against the fading daylight. In that split second, when his mind wandered to the empty apartment waiting for him, the grocery bag tumbled from the passenger's seat, spilling apples across the floor like scattered regrets. He slammed on the brakes just in time, heart pounding, only to look up and see the man in the crosswalk, tall, drenched, with eyes like storm clouds, staring back as if fate had just rewritten their scripts. Mateo had always believed in accidents, the kind that upend your carefully ordered life without apology. That evening in the Pike Place Market Safeway, under the harsh fluorescence of Aisle 7, his cart collided with another's in a symphony of canned goods rattling like distant thunder. Oranges rolled free, bouncing between their feet, and when Mateo bent to retrieve one, his fingers brushed against warm skin, strong hands, calloused from something real, like fixing bikes or building dreams in a city that chewed them up. "I'm so sorry," the man said, his voice a low rumble that cut through the store's hum of carts and whispers. He straightened, revealing a frame lean from runs along the waterfront, damp curls framing a face etched with quiet intensity. "You okay?" Mateo nodded, heat rising in his cheeks despite the chills seeping from his rain jacket. Up close, the stranger smelled of cedar and wet earth, a scent that tugged at memories Mateo kept buried under layers of routine. "Yeah, just distracted. Long day at the clinic. Vet." The man tilted his head, a half-smile breaking through, revealing a dimple that softened the sharp line of his jaw. "Architect," Mateo corrected, though he wished it were the former, something with heartbeats you could mend. "Mateo Rossi." "And you?" "Alex Harlan." "Graphic designer, or starting artist, depending on the month." Alex's eyes lingered, hazel flecked with gold, holding Mateo's gaze in a way that felt less like chance and more like collision. They gathered the fruit together, knees brushing in the narrow aisle, small talk weaving through the air like fog off Elliott Bay. Mateo learned Alex lived in Capitol Hill, sketched logos for local breweries by day, and chased sunsets on his motorcycle by night. Alex discovered Mateo's passion for restoring old Victorians, his Italian roots in the recipes his nana had smuggled across the Atlantic. By the time they reached the checkout, the rain had eased to a drizzle, and Mateo's number was scrawled on the back of a receipt, handed over with a grin that promised more than spilled produce. That night, alone in his queen and row house, Mateo replayed the moment, the way Alex's laugh had echoed softly against the shelves. He poured a glass of Chianti, staring at the city lights twinkling like hesitant stars, wondering if this was the accident he'd been waiting for or the one that would shatter him. Their first date was at a hole-in-the-wall taqueria in Fremont, the kind of place where the salsa burned your tongue and the walls were papered with faded band posters. Alex arrived on his Harley, helmet tucked under his arm, leather jacket zipped against the autumn chill. Mateo, in a crisp button-down that hid his nerves, felt underdressed in the glow of Alex's easy confidence. They talked for hours, plates of carnitas cooling untouched. Alex shared stories of growing up in rural Montana, trading hay bales for art supplies, coming out of town where whispers were weapons. "My dad still calls it a phase," he said, tracing the rim of his beer bottle. "But phases don't last 20 years. Mateo leaned in, the candlelight flickering across Alex's features. Mine tried conversion therapy once. Lasted a week before I walked out. Now we're civil, holidays and all. He paused, vulnerability cracking his voice. But it leaves scars. You know, makes you build walls higher than the Space Needle. Alex reached across the table, his thumb brushing Mateo's knuckles. Walls are meant to be climbed. Or knocked down. The touch lingered. Electric. Pulling Mateo into depths he hadn't explored since his last heartbreak 2 years prior. An architect colleague who'd ghosted him after a summer of stolen kisses in blueprint rooms. By the time they stepped into the misty night, the city alive with the hum of late-night buses and distant ferry horns. Mateo knew this was different. Alex pulled him close under the awning, their lips meeting in a kiss that tasted of lime and possibility. Slow at first, tentative, then deepening as rain began to patter on the pavement. Mateo's hands fisted in Alex's jacket, anchoring himself against the rush. The world narrowing to the warmth of breath mingling. The subtle press of bodies aligning like puzzle pieces long separated. They tumbled into Alex's apartment overlooking Lake Union, a loft cluttered with sketch pads and half-finished canvases. Clothes shed like inhibitions. They mapped each other with hands and mouths, laughter bubbling up between gasps. Alex's touch was reverent, tracing the curve of Mateo's spine, whispering praises in the dark. "You're beautiful," he murmured against Mateo's collarbone. And for the first time in years, Mateo believed it. Dawn crept in through the blinds, painting their tangled limbs in gold. They lay there, hearts sinking to the rhythm of waking gulls. And Mateo felt the stirrings of something profound, a bridge forming over the chasm of solitude. Weeks blurred into months, their lives intertwining like vines on a trellis. Mateo introduced Alex to his circle, Sunday brunches at his best friend Lena's in Ballard, where mimosas flowed and stories of bad dates dissolve into cheers for their budding romance. Alex brought Mateo to underground art shows in Soto warehouses, where graffiti walls pulsed with color and the air thrummed with indie beats. One crisp October evening, as leaves skittered across California Anderson Park, Alex dropped to one knee, not with a ring, but with a key. "Move in with me," he said, eyes shining under the park lamps. "Let's build something real." Mateo pulled him up, kissing him fiercely amid the joggers and dog walkers. "Yes. God, yes." The move was chaos, boxes of Mateo's drafting tools mingling with Alex's vinyl collection. Arguments over closet space dissolving into make-up sex on the living room floor. They navigated the domestic dance, the grocery runs where Alex insisted on organic kale, while Mateo snuck in cannoli fixings. The lazy Sundays binge-watching noir films with takeout, faux steaming on the coffee table. But beneath the bliss, shadows lingered. Mateo's job at the firm ramped up, deadlines blurring into midnight sketches, leaving him drained. Alex's freelance gigs ebbed and flowed, frustration etching lines around his eyes when rejections piled up. Small fissures appeared, a forgotten anniversary dinner, a snide comment about Mateo's workaholic tendencies, yet they patched them with apologies and affection, convinced love was the mortar holding it all. It was during a quiet winter night, snow dusting the city like powdered sugar, that the idea took root. Curled on the couch, a foster care pamphlet open on Alex's lap, something he'd picked up at a community fair. "What if we," he began, voice tentative. Mateo looked up from his book, heart stuttering. "Adopted?" Us. The word hung there, heavy with dreams and doubts. They talked until the fire died in the grate. Fears surfacing like icebergs. Mateo's worry about his family's judgment. Alex's ghost from a childhood marked by his parents' divorce. But the want burned brighter, the ache for a family of their own, pieced together from love's fragments. Applications followed, home studies that peeled back layers of their souls. Interviews where social workers probed their readiness, their resilience. Through it all, they held hands under tables, exchanged glances that said, "We're in this." Spring bloomed with cherry blossoms along the waterfront when the call came. A boy, for years old, named Liam, abandoned by a mother lost to opioids, shuffled through systems that failed him. Wide-eyed, with curls like Alex's and a laugh that could melt glaciers. The first meeting was in a sterile agency room. Liam clutching a stuffed bear, his gaze darting like a cornered fawn. Mateo knelt, offering a cracker from his pocket. "Hey, buddy. I'm Mateo. This is Alex. We're going to take you home." Liam's tiny hand slipped into his, trust flickering in those chocolate eyes. In that instant, Mateo's world expanded, the accident at the grocery store feeling like destiny's prelude. The first weeks with Liam were a whirlwind of firsts, each one etching itself into Mateo's heart like a blueprint for forever. Mornings began with the patter of small feet on hardwood, Liam's giggles echoing as Alex chased him around the kitchen island, pancakes sizzling on the griddle. Mateo watched from the doorway, coffee mug warming his palms, marveling at how this tiny human had slotted into their chaos like he'd always belonged. "Look, Papa Matt, flying saucer," Liam squealed one dawn, holding up a plate stacked with misshapen flapjacks, syrup dripping like molten gold. The nickname, Papa Matt, had slipped out unbidden during bath time, Alex's eyes misting as he toweled the boy's damp curls. Mateo, ever the stoic architect, had blinked back tears, pulling them both into a hug that smelled of baby shampoo and fresh starts. They navigated the rhythms of parenthood with a mix of instinct and Google-fueled panic. Bedtime stories from Alex's dog-eared copy of Where the Wild Things Are, the pages worn from his own childhood readings. Mateo's turn at lullabies, his baritone crooning Italian folk tunes that lulled Liam into dreams of olive groves and sea-swept coasts. Nights when fevers spiked or nightmares clawed Liam awake. They tag-teamed with cool cloths and whispered reassurances, their bond forged stronger in the forge of exhaustion. Seattle's summer unfolded in lazy arcs, picnics at Gasworks Park, where Liam chased kites against the silhouette of the skyline, his laughter mingling with the lap of lake waves. Ice cream cones for Molly Moons, chocolate smudged on chins, Alex wiping it away with a tenderness that made Mateo's chest ache. Evenings on the balcony, fireflies dancing in the twilight. Wait. No, Seattle didn't have fireflies, but the fireflies of their making, string lights draped over railings. Liam's head heavy on Mateo's lap as stories spun tales of brave knights and gentle dragons. Yet joy's underbelly was argument, sharp as the city's winter winds. It started small, a forgotten diaper bag at the playground, Mateo's frustration boiling over into accusations. "You said you'd pack it. Alex. What if he'd had an accident?" Alex's jaw tightened, hazel eyes flashing. "I'm juggling deadlines. Babe. Not everything's on me." The words hung, acrid, and Mateo retreated to his drafting table, lines blurring on the screen as guilt gnawed. Later, apologies came in the form of takeout from their favorite dim sum spot. Liam oblivious between them, chopsticks waving like conductors' batons. "Sorry," Mateo murmured, lacing fingers under the table. "We're a team." "Always," Alex replied. But the ease had frayed, threads pulling loose. As autumn leaves turned the streets to amber carpets, Liam's integration deepened. He called the loft home now. His drawings, stick-figure families with 2 daddies and a wobbly dog, taped to the fridge like badges of belonging. Mateo's firm noticed his glow, colleagues teasing about the dad bod emerging from skipped gym sessions. Alex landed a big contract designing labels for a Pike Brewing expansion. Celebrations marked by champagne toasts and Liam's sparkling cider, bubbles fizzing like their effervescent life. But beneath the surface, Mateo sensed shifts. Alex's late nights at the studio, claims of inspiration striking after dark, the way his phone buzzed more frequently, silence with a flick of thumb. Mateo dismissed it as paranoia, remnants of old wounds, burying doubts under blueprints and bedtime routines. One rainy November evening, after tucking Liam in with tales of pirate adventures, they collapsed onto the couch, a bottle of Pinot between them. The city lights reflected off the windows like distant campfires. "He's thriving," Alex said, swirling his glass. "Because of us." Mateo nodded, leaning into his shoulder. "Yeah. But are we? Sometimes I feel like we're performing. You know, like the perfect gay dad from some Netflix special." Alex chuckled, but it rang hollow. "We're real, Matt. Messy, but real." His hand found Mateo's thigh, a familiar spark igniting. But when they moved to the bedroom, Alex's mind seemed elsewhere. Touches mechanical, release hollow. The next morning, over oatmeal dotted with blueberries, Liam chattered about preschool finger painting, his enthusiasm a balm. Mateo dropped him off at the co-op in Wallingford, waving as he scampered inside, then headed to a site visit in Georgetown. The old warehouse conversion demanded focus, but his thoughts drifted to Alex's distracted gaze, the unanswered text from the night before. That afternoon, returning early with takeout from Babar lemongrass chicken, still steaming, Mateo found the apartment quiet. Alex's motorcycle was absent. A post-it on the fridge, meeting ran long. "Love you." Unease prickled, but he pushed it down, sketching park designs while Liam napped. Alex burst in at dusk, cheeks flushed, carrying a bouquet of dahlias from a market. "Surprise date night," he announced, pulling Mateo into a kiss that tasted of mint and evasion. They hired a sitter from the neighborhood app, a college kid named Jordan with tattoos and easy rapport with Liam. Dinner at Canlis, the restaurant perched like a jewel box over the bay. City sprawl glittering below. Candlelight danced on crystal. Steaks seared to perfection, but conversation skirted edges. Alex raved about his new client, a startup in Belltown with big ideas, eyes alight in a way Mateo hadn't seen in months. "This could be it, Matt. Stability for us. For Liam." "I'm proud," Mateo said, clinking glasses. "But don't forget us in the chase." Alex's smile faltered. "Never." Yet as they drove home, hand in his lap, Mateo wondered if promises were as fragile as the fog rolling in. Winter holidays approached. Seattle cloaked in evergreen garlands and fairy lights twinkling across the sound. They hosted a tree trimming party, Lena and her wife bringing mulled wine. Alex's artist friend Theo with his dry wit and questionable eggnog recipe. Liam, in a tiny Santa hat, directed the ornament placement with bossy precision, his joy infectious. Amid the laughter, Mateo caught Alex and Theo in the kitchen, heads bent close, whispers lost in the holiday din. Jealousy flickered. Irrational, Theo was straight. Married. Harmless, but it lodged like a splinter. Later, as guests departed and snow flurried outside, Alex pulled him aside. "You okay? You seem tense." "Just tired," Mateo lied, forcing a smile. They made love by the tree's glow, boughs brushing the ceiling, but climax brought no catharsis, only a deeper ache. New Year's Eve found them at a low-key bash in Capitol Hill, Liam with Lena for the night. Fireworks burst over the skyline as they kissed on a rooftop. Resolutions whispered, more presence, deeper connection. But dawn brought the first real fracture. Mateo woke to Alex's side empty. A note, early sketch session. Breakfast out? The cold sheet mocked him. At the diner on Broadway, over huevos rancheros. Alex's phone lit up, text from C, casual. But the intimacy stung. Client, Alex dismissed. But Mateo's architects, I spotted the lie in averted glances. They argued that night, voices low to spare Liam's ears. "Who's C?" Mateo pressed, heart hammering. "A collaborator." "Nothing." Alex's defensiveness cracked the air. "Collaborators don't text heart emojis at midnight." The silence stretched, accusation hanging. Alex stormed out for a ride, returning hours later, reeking of rain and regret. "I love you," he said, collapsing into Mateo's arms. "Only you." Forgiveness came, tentative, but the seed of doubt took root, watered by sleepless nights. Spring thawed the chill. Liam's 5th birthday, a riot of balloons and cake at the zoo. Giraffes looming like gentle giants. Mateo captured all on his phone, Alex hoisting Liam on his shoulders. Their laughter a symphony. Yet photos couldn't capture the growing distance. Alex's absences lengthening, excuses thinning. One balmy May afternoon, Mateo arrived home early, blueprints underarm, to find Alex's studio door ajar. Inside, laughter, familiar, flirtatious. Peering through, his world tilted. Alex, entwined with a man lean, tattooed, mid-20s, kissing with a hunger Mateo hadn't felt in months. The stranger, Casey, he learned later, pulled away, but the damage etched eternal. Mateo backed away, nausea rising, fleeing to the waterfront. Waves crashed against the piers, mirroring his turmoil. Betrayal, raw and unrelenting, carved canyons in his chest. How had he missed the signs, the late nights, the guarded phone? Love, once a fortress, crumbled to ruins. The confrontation unfolded in the dim light of their loft, shadows lengthening like accusations across the reclaimed wood floors. Mateo stood by the window, arms crossed over his chest. The city's hum a distant roar below. Alex entered slowly, jacket slung over his shoulder, the scent of exhaust and something sharper, guilt, perhaps clinging to him. Liam was at preschool, the apartment echoing with the absence of his chatter, amplifying the tension coiling between them. "We need to talk," Mateo said, voice steady despite the quake in his soul. He turned, eyes locking on Alex's, searching for the man he'd met in that grocery aisle, the one who'd promised forever with a key and a kiss. Alex froze, color draining from his face. "Matt, what's wrong?" But the lie died on his lips as Mateo's gaze pierced, unyielding. "I saw you. With him." Casey. The name tasted like ash, spat out to purge the poison. "In our home. Our sanctuary." The air thickened, Alex's shoulders slumping as truth crashed down. He sank onto the edge of the bed, head and hands. It was a mistake. "God, Matt, I'm so sorry." It started as nothing, late nights at the studio. He's a freelancer. We'd collaborate, one thing led to another. But it means nothing. "You're everything." Mateo laughed, bitter, the sound foreign in his throat. "Nothing? While I'm raising our son, planning our future, while you sketch logos and sneak kisses." Tears welled, hot and unbidden, tracing paths down his cheeks. He swiped them away, anger surging. "I trusted you. After everything, my family's bullshit, my own fears, you were my safe place. And you shattered it." Alex reached for him, but Mateo recoiled, the space between them a chasm widening with each breath. "I was lost. Okay. The pressure, fatherhood, the gigs drying up, feeling like I'm failing you both." Casey was easy, an escape. But I hate myself for it. "Please, let me fix this." "Fix?" Mateo's voice cracked, raw. "You don't fix betrayal with words. You rebuild from the ground up. And I don't know if I have the blueprints for that anymore." He paced, the room closing in, memories flashing, their first dance at a Pride Flow party, swaying to synth pop under rainbow banners, lazy mornings with Liam between them, tiny fingers tracing their joined hands. All tainted now, hues bled to gray. They talked, or argued, through the afternoon, voices rising then falling, circling the drain of what-ifs. Alex begged for counseling, for time, swearing off contact with Casey, deleting numbers with trembling fingers. Mateo listened, heart warring with head, love's embers flickering against the gale of hurt. By evening, as Liam's keychain jingled in the lock, they'd agreed, a trial separation. Alex to a friend's couch in Fremont, Mateo holding the fort with their boy. Tucking Liam in that night, Mateo sang softly, Volare, the melody of fragile thread to normalcy. Liam's eyes, so like Alex's, searched his face. "Where's Papa Alex?" "Working late, buddy. But he loves you." "We both do." The lies settled heavy, but sleep claimed the child, leaving Mateo to the silence, where sobs came in waves, soaking the pillow. Days blurred into a monotonous grind. Mornings, Mateo wrestling Liam into rain boots, backpack slung over tiny shoulders. Drop-offs at the co-op where other parents' easy smiles mocked his fracture. Work, endless meetings at the firm, where elevations rose on paper but his spirit sagged. Evenings, solo dinners of mac and cheese from box. Liam's stories of finger-painted whales a spotlight on the empty chair. Alex called daily. Updates on his apartment hunt, voice laced with contrition. "I miss you. Both of you." Mateo's response is shortened. Walls rising higher. Protection for the heart laid bare. Lena became his anchor. Coffee dates at Le Panier where croissants flaked like shed defenses. "You're stronger than this," she said one drizzly noon, squeezing his hand. "But you don't have to be. Not alone. Kick him to the curb if it heals you." "I love him still," Matteo confessed, stirring sugar into espresso. "That's the worst part. Like loving a ghost of who he was." Nights were the hardest. The bed vast and cold. Alex's pillow a traitor holding his scent. Matteo scrolled old photos. Thanksgiving at his parents in Bellevue. Awkward but inclusive now. Turkey carved with tentative acceptance. Beach days at Alki. Liam building sandcastles while they napped in tandem. Each image a knife twist. Nostalgia warring with nausea. 2 weeks in, a custody consult with their social worker. A kind-eyed woman named Rita who'd guided their adoption. Co-parenting through separation is possible, she assured, outlining schedules, communication apps. Focus on Liam. He's your North Star. The first exchange at a neutral park in Green Lake crushed him. Alex arrived, disheveled, eyes shadowed, scooping Liam into a bear hug that drew giggles. Matteo watched from the bench, a voyeur to their joy, envy coiling tight. "Take care of him," he murmured as handover neared. "Always," Alex replied, gaze pleading. Their fingers brushed, a spark lingering, but Matteo pulled away, steeling himself. Summer crept in, relentless sun piercing the perpetual overcast, mirroring Matteo's inner blaze. He threw himself into a passion project, redesigning a community center in the Central District. Spaces for queer youth, art rooms, counseling nooks, a nod to the boy he'd been, hiding sketches in notebooks. Liam tagged along to sights, hard hat comically oversized, his presence a reminder of purpose amid pain. Alex's texts evolved, from apologies to co-parenting logistics, laced with glimpses of remorse. "Miss our runs along the locks." Matteo ignored most. But one evening, after a brutal day of revisions, he replied, "Liam asked for you tonight." "Storytime tomorrow?" The meetup at the loft was civil, borders blurred. Liam bounced between them, oblivious, demanding goodnight moon in triplicate. As pages turned, their knees touched under the quilt, warmth seeping through denim. After Liam's snores evened, they lingered in the hallway, air charged. "I'm seeing a therapist," Alex whispered, "working on why sabotaged us. I want to come home, Matt. If you'll have me." Matteo's throat tightened. "I don't know if home feels safe anymore." But as Alex nodded, defeated, and slipped out, the door's click echoed like a heartbeat, faint but persisting. Crisis peaked on a sweltering July 4th. Fireworks planned at Discovery Park. Matteo had promised Liam a front row view, but a storm warning grounded them. Instead, balcony barbecue, veggie skewers charring, Liam waving sparklers under supervision. Alex joined, tentative invite accepted for the boys' sake. As dusk fell, bottle rockets whistling from distant boats, conversation turned raw. "I lied to protect myself," Alex admitted, beer sweating in his grip. "From failing. But destroyed the best thing in my life." Matteo stared at the horizon, fairies cutting wakes like scars. "Trust is architecture, Alex. One crack, and the whole structure teeters. I'm trying to shore it up, but it hurts." They didn't kiss, didn't reconcile, but the night ended with a hug, brief, brotherly, Liam asleep between them on the couch. A fragile bridge. August brought school prep, Liam's backpack monogrammed with dinosaurs. First day, jitters manifesting in clingy mornings. Mateo's resolve wavered during a parent-teacher conference. Alex's empty seat beside him a void. He texted mid-meeting, "Wish you were here." Reply came swift, "Me too." Progress? Therapy for Mateo followed. Sessions in a Belltown office with views of the Olympics. Unpacking betrayal's layers. Anger's valid, his counselor, Marcus, said. But beneath it, love doesn't vanish. It transforms. Fall whispered in with equinox winds. Leaves carpeting the paths of Volunteer Park. A family outing, pumpkin patch in Kent. Hayrides bumping over fields, tested waters. Liam rode Alex's shoulders. Mateo trailing. Laughter bubbling unforced. At the cider stand, hands brushed again, lingering this time. "I'm ready to try," Mateo said later. As they drove home, Liam dozing in his booster. Counseling together. Slow. For him. For us. Alex's eyes glistened in the rear view. Yes. God. Yes. Rebuilding began. Tentative as scaffolding on a high-rise. Joint sessions where tears flowed freer than words. Excavating roots of insecurity. Alex's fear of inadequacy. Mateo's terror of abandonment. Dates sans Liam. Walks along the locks. Salmon leaping upstream like leaps of faith. Dinners at intimate spots like Altura, where pasta twirled like unwound tensions. Yet doubts lingered. Nightmares of Casey's shadow pulling Mateo awake. Sweat damp. He confided in Lena over pie at her place. Her embrace fierce. You deserve joy, not just survival. Halloween approached. Pumpkins grinning from stoops. Seattle's chill nipping at heels. They carved jack-o'-lanterns with Liam. Seeds sticky on fingers. Faces alight with candle glow. As trick-or-treaters paraded, costumed as superheroes and witches. Mateo felt a thaw, love's embers kindling anew. But crisis loomed. Unbidden, in a late-night call from Alex's phone, not his voice, but Casey's, slurred and desperate. Tell him I'm sorry. It's over. But he won't listen. The line went dead. Mateo's world tilting once more. The call shattered the fragile piece Mateo had pieced together. Glass shards of trust scattering anew across the floor of their tentative reconciliation. He sat on the edge of the bed. Phone clutched like a grenade. The screen's glow illuminating the hollows under his eyes. Outside, Seattle's night traffic hummed indifferently. Headlights sweeping the walls like searchlights, exposing hidden fractures. Casey's voice, pleading, broken, replayed in loops. A siren's call dredging up the betrayal's raw underbelly. He didn't confront Alex that night. Instead, he texted, "We need to talk. Tomorrow." After drop-off, sleep evaded him, chased by visions of tangled sheets and whispered lies. The loft silence amplifying his heartbeat's frantic Morse code. Morning came gray and sodden, rain lashing the windows as Mateo bundled Liam into his frog raincoat, hood flopping over curls. The drive to school was a blur of preschool tunes on low volume. Liam's off-key warbling a counterpoint to Mateo's turmoil. At the gate, he knelt, pressing a kiss to the boy's forehead. "Have fun, little guy. Papa Matt loves you." Alex waited in the parking lot, leaning against his motorcycle, helmet dangling from handlebars, face a mask of apprehension. Rain beaded on his leather jacket, dripping like unshed tears. "What's going on?" he asked, voice barely above the downpour's patter. Mateo thrust the phone forward, replaying the voicemail on speaker. Casey's words filled the space between them, tinny and accusatory. Alex's color drained, hand raking through damp hair. Shit. I blocked him weeks ago. Must have gotten my old number from Share Drive. Old number. Mateo's laugh was sharp, edged with disbelief. Or did you leave a door cracked? Alex? For when things get hard again. The words lashed out, born of exhaustion. The cumulative weight of second chances bending his spine. Alex stepped closer, rain mingling with the sheen on his cheeks. No. I swear. Matt. Therapy's helping. I see it now. The patterns. The running. Casey's desperate because I cut him off cold. But if you think, I don't know what to think, Mateo exploded, voice cracking like thunder. A passing parent glanced their way, but he didn't care. Every step forward, something pulls us back. Liam deserves stability, not this emotional whiplash. Maybe we're poison. The accusation landed like a gut punch. Alex recoiling. We're not. We're human. Messy. Yeah, but fighting for it. He reached out, but Mateo shrugged him off, the touch burning now. Go, Mateo said, turning toward the car. Pick him up later. I need space. Alex nodded, defeated, mounting his bike with a roar that echoed Mateo's inner storm. As he peeled away, Mateo slid down the car door, rain soaking through his jeans, sobs merging with the deluge. How many times could love be rebuilt before the foundation crumbled irreparably? The afternoon dragged. Mateo's office a cage of deadlines and fluorescent buzz. He sketched absent-mindedly, lines veering into abstract chaos, towers toppling, bridges burning. Lena called, sensing the fracture through texts. Come over, she insisted. Wine and wisdom. Her Ballard bungalow welcomed him with the scent of baking bread and her wife's hug. Over glasses of Cabernet, Mateo spilled it all. Voice hoarse. I'm terrified, Lena, of staying and breaking, of leaving and shattering him, us. She topped off his glass, eyes kind but firm. Fear's the real saboteur. You've given him chances. Now give yourself grace. Liam's resilient because of you. Aside from love, not pain, home brought Liam's exuberant tackle hug. Tales of glitter glue and snack time. Dinner was spaghetti, sauce splattered like abstract art. The boys' chatter a lifeline. Bedtime stories flowed into Mateo's lap, tiny body warm against his chest. And for a moment, the world righted. Alex arrived at 8. Liam's backpack slung over his shoulder, face etched with worry. They exchanged the boy in the doorway. Awkward choreography. Can we talk? Alex murmured, glancing at Liam drawing in the living room. Mateo sighed, rubbing his temples. Tomorrow. Neutral ground. The park, Green Lake at dawn, was a sanctuary of mist-shrouded paths. Rowers slicing the water like arrows loosed toward redemption. They walked in silence first, ducks quacking commentary, the crunch of gravel underfoot a metronome to their unease. Finally, Alex broke it. I confronted Casey last night. Told him it's done, permanently. Blocked everywhere. And I'm doubling therapy, adding a group for infidelity recovery. Mateo halted, leaves swirling at their feet. "Why should I believe you this time?" "Because I see the cost now," Alex replied, voice raw. "Losing you. Losing us, it's gutting me. I was selfish, chasing validation in shadows. But light's here, with you. If you let me earn it back." Tears pricked Mateo's eyes, the vulnerability a mirror to his own. "I want to. God, I do. But trust's a slow rebuild. We go slower, boundaries firm, couples counseling mandatory. And Liam first, always." "Agreed," Alex said, relief flooding his features. They didn't embrace. Not yet, but the walk continued, steps sinking, a tentative rhythm emerging. Fall deepened, Seattle's palette of rust and gold framing their cautious dance. Joint therapy sessions in a cozy Capitol Hill office, where Dr. Elena, a no-nonsense dyke with salt and pepper hair, facilitated dissections of wounds. "Betrayal's a theft," she said one Tuesday, as Alex owned his lapses. "But restitution comes in actions, not alibis." Mateo shared too, unearthing his role, the emotional distance from workaholic nights, the unspoken pressures. "I withdrew," he admitted, "making it easy for you to seek elsewhere." Healing threaded through routines, co-parenting handoffs evolving into shared dinners. Liam's delight at full-table chaos a balm. A weekend getaway to the San Juans. Ferry rocking gently. Cabins with crackling fireplaces where they talked till stars wheeled overhead. No sex. Not yet, just presence. Stories retold without armor. Thanksgiving loomed. Mateo's parents' invitation a litmus test. His mother, Elena Rossi, with her warm hugs and sharper questions. Father, Giuseppe, gruff but thawing since Liam's arrival. They drove east across the Cascades, pines giving way to golden hills. Liam pressing nose to window at passing deer. The Bellevue house smelled of roasting chestnuts and marinara simmering. Nana's recipes a bridge across generations. Dinner unfolded with toasts, Giuseppe clinking glasses to family. However it grows, and Mateo caught Alex's eye across the turkey. Gratitude unspoken but profound. Post-feast walks along Lake Washington. Liam skipping stones. Mateo and Alex trailing, hands brushing. "This feels like us again," Alex whispered, and Mateo nodded. Hope's seed sprouting. Winter's grip tightened. Holidays a flurry of lights and lists. They decorated the loft together, Liam directing tinsel placement with authoritarian glee. Christmas morning, bikes under the tree. Liam's shrieks of joy as he pedaled wobbly across the floor. Gifts exchanged. Mateo, a leather-bound sketchbook for Alex, inscribed to new lines. Together, Alex a custom drafting lamp, etched with Illuminate Us. New Year's brought resolutions pinned on paper lanterns, released over Lake Union. Trust, presence, growth. Flames dancing skyward like prayers. Yet crisis shadowed, unyielding. January's ice storm blanketed the city, power outages plunging them into candlelit limbo. Stranded together, Liam tucked early. They faced the dark, literally, figuratively. Arguments flared, old resentments bubbling. Alex accusing Mateo of emotional hoarding. Mateo countering with fresh scars. "You still look at me like I'm the villain," Alex snapped, as winds howled outside. "Because part of you is," Mateo retorted, voice trembling. The part that chose escape over us. The fight crested. Words weapons. Until exhaustion claimed them on the couch. Liam's nightlight, the lone sentinel. Dawn thawed the rift. Apologies murmured over cold coffee. "We're worth the storm," Alex said. And Mateo, weary but willing, agreed. Spring's thaw mirrored their own, cherry blossoms unfurling. Therapy yielding breakthroughs. A milestone date at Salumi. Salami slices shared like sacraments. Laughter genuine. Touches lingering. Intimacy returned. Slow and sacred. Bodies rediscovering maps redrawn by time. But as May bloomed, a letter arrived, custody evaluation from the agency, prompted by their separation. Rita's words were measured, stability concerns noted. Recommend continued monitoring. Panic surged, the threat of losing Liam a vice on their hearts. "We fight this," Mateo declared, hand in Alex's across the kitchen table. Together, the evaluation process was a gauntlet, interviews reliving betrayals, home visits scrutinizing their mended home. Liam's input, via play therapy, shown drawings of two daddies holding hands. Son overhead. Their united front, forged in fire, impressed Rita. Progress evident, she concluded. Proceed with caution. But full custody affirmed. Relief washed over them like Puget Sound tides. Celebrations quiet. A picnic at Cary Park. Skyline sprawling below. Liam's kite soaring free. Summer hummed in. Barbecues and beach days. Their family a tapestry rewoven stronger. Yet Mateo carried the scars. Quiet moments of doubt whispering. Alex sensed it, countering with consistency, date nights. Help with baths. Love notes slipped into lunchboxes. One golden evening, as the sun dipped behind the Olympics, they stood on the balcony, Liam asleep inside. Alex turned to him, eyes earnest. "Marry me, not to fix, but to build." For real this time, Mateo searched those hazel depths, seeing the man who'd collided with his cart, the father who'd mended, the partner reborn. "Yes," he breathed, pulling him close. "Let's build." Engagement settled over them like a soft blanket on a crisp Seattle morning, warming the edges of their hard-won peace without erasing the chill of memory. The ring, a simple platinum band with an inlaid sapphire, evoking Elliott Bay's depths, slipped onto Mateo's finger during a quiet hike in Discovery Park. Alex dropping to one knee amid soared ferns and salal. Liam cheering from his backpack carrier like a tiny herald. "Papa Matt said yes," the boy crowed, and laughter bubbled up, pure and unscarred, chasing shadows from the understory. Planning wove into their days, a tapestry of decisions threaded with joy and the occasional snag. Venue debates over coffee at Victrola. Alex pushing for an intimate ceremony at a Capitol Hill garden. Mateo envisioning a waterfront loft with views of the ferries gliding like vows across the water. Invites handwritten on thick stock. Lena's calligraphy flourishing names, Theo, Rita, distant cousins thawed by time. Liam's role loomed large. His earnest questions at bedtime a heart tug. "Will I be the best man, or the ring boy?" Mateo chuckled, smoothing curls. "Both, buddy. You're the heart of it all," work intruded. As ever, Mateo's firm landing a contract for a queer-inclusive housing project in the Central District. Designs prioritizing safe spaces. Community kitchens where stories could simmer like stews. Late nights at the drafting table bled into dawn. Alex countering with packed lunches and foot rubs. A quiet atonement. One such evening, as rain tapped Morse code on the panes, Alex found Mateo slumped over elevations, eyes bleary. "Come to bed," he murmured, hands kneading shoulders taut as rebar. "The walls can wait." Mateo leaned back, ring catching the lamplight. "They always do. But we can't afford delays." Their kiss started soft. Gratitude's bloom, deepening into hunger long banked. Clothes shed in the hallway. They tumbled to sheets, bodies aligning with familiar grace, rediscovering rhythms interrupted by cries from the monitor. Laughter followed, breathless, as they paused, then resumed in whispers. Love's architecture rebuilt stroke by stroke. Fall's harvest moon hung low as the wedding neared. Rehearsals at the chosen venue, a restored warehouse in Pioneer Square. Exposed beams like outstretched arms. Rehearsal dinner at Matt's in the market. Oysters shucked fresh. Toasts flowing like the wine. Lena's wry wit on surviving the blueprint phase. Giuseppe's gruff pride in my son. The builder of homes and hearts. The ceremony dawned clear. Rare Seattle sun gilding the rafters. Guests in a rainbow spectrum of suits and sundresses. Liam, in a mini tux with bow tie askew, carried rings in a velvet pouch, his grin wide as the sound. Vows exchanged under a floral arch, wildflowers and evergreens. Scent of pine and promise, Mateo's voice steady. "You crashed into my world." Alex, spilling fruit and fate. Through storms and rebuilds. "I choose you," every line, every curve. Alex's eyes shimmered. "From accident to anchor, you show me homes, not a place, but us. I vow fidelity, in action and soul, to the family we've forged." Rings slid home, kiss sealing it amid cheers. Liam's yay, Daddy's piercing the applause. Reception spilled into the courtyard. String quartet weaving indie folk with Italian arias. Cake a towering confection of lemon and lavender. Dances swirled, Liam twirling between them. Then slow circles for the grooms. Bodies close, world fading to heartbeat sync. Honeymoon whispered of San Juan Islands, cabins on Orcas, kayaks cutting fjords. Liam with Lena for a week of anti-spoiling. Mornings of coffee on decks. Afternoons hiking moss-draped trails. Evenings in each other's arms. Lovemaking unhurried. Reclaiming intimacy's full spectrum. "This is us," Alex murmured one twilight, fingers tracing Mateo's ring. Whole. Return brought routine's embrace, but joy's afterglow lingered. Liam's school play, a rambunctious take on the Wizard of Oz, saw Alex as Tin Man. Mateo, stage managing, pride swelling at curtain call bows. Holidays layered on, Hanukkah lights with Theo's family, blending lax and lasagna. Traditions a mosaic. Yet beneath the bliss, fishers whispered. Alex's freelance surged, a high-profile gig with a tech firm in Bellevue. Commutes lengthening. Dinners solo. Mateo noticed the glow of late texts. Dismissed as client notes, but doubts echo chamber-hummed. "Don't drift," he said one night over stir-fry. Chopsticks pausing. "Never," Alex promised, but the word felt rehearsed. Winter's solstice brought a gift unbidden, Liam's fever, spiking sudden as a squall. Waited Swedish. Fluorescent hell. Mateo pacing while Alex held their boy. Stories of brave explorers' distracting whimpers. Diagnosis: flu. Manageable. But the scare bonded them fiercer. Nights of tag team nursing. Broth and brow wipes. Recovery days were tender. Fort building in the living room. Blanket drapes over chairs. Flashlight tales of Oz revisited. Liam's resilience shone. But Mateo glimpsed his own fragility in the mirror, eyes shadowed. The weight of what-ifs. Spring's renewal mirrored internal churn. Mateo's project launched. Ribbon cutting with city council. Speeches on spaces for all loves. Alex attended, arm around waist. But his mind wandered. Phone buzzing mid-toast. Confrontation brewed over Easter brunch at a Finney Ridge cafe. Mimosas untouched. "You're checked out again," Mateo said, voice low amid clinking silver. Alex sighed. "For tracing plate. The gig's intense. Travel to Portland next week. But it's for us. Stability or escape." The word hung. Accusation reborn. Therapy beckoned. Dr. Elena's office a confessional. "Patterns repeat if unaddressed," she warned, as Alex owned the pull of adrenaline highs. Commit or cycle spin. Summer simmered. Family camping at Deception Pass, tents pitched by bluffs. Liam's first Esmoray's gooey triumph. Bonfire stories circled. Ghosts exorcised in flames. Alex sharing Montana boyhood loneliness. Mateo his Nana's tales of immigrant grit. Intimacy flared under stars. Urgent and affirming. Bodies a testament to endurance. Yet crisis crested in August heat. Alex's Portland trip extending, a client dinner morphing to overnights. Text sparse. Excuses thin. Mateo's call pierced the line. "Come home." Now, return brought storm. Hotel receipts in his bag. A colleague's name, Jordan, the sitter from years back. Now an intern. "It was one drink," Alex pleaded. But photos on a shared drive told otherwise. Embraces too close. Lips brushing cheeks. Betrayal's blade twisted deeper. Mateo's roar echoing off walls. Again, after vows. Therapy. Everything. Liam, hidden in his room, sobbed unheard. Separation redux. Alex to a sublet in Belltown. Mateo barricading with locks and lawyers. Nights dissolved into numbness. Work a blur. Liam's questions a daily dagger. "When's Papa Alex coming?" "Soon, buddy." Or whenever he deserves. Lena's interventions. Friends' rallies, bar nights at Numos, where bass thrummed pain away. Therapy solo now. Marcus probing. "What do you want?" Mateo, beyond survival, a life unbroken, he whispered. "For me. For Liam." Autumn winds strip trees bare, mirroring Mateo's soul. Co-parenting apps pinged logistics. Alex's pleas for reconciliation ignored. A court mediator outlined terms, joint custody. No fault, but Mateo's heart hardened to granite. Crisis peaked at Liam's 6th birthday. Party at the Children's Museum. Dinosaurs roaring backdrop. Alex arrived, gift in hand, a remote-control T-Rex, but Mateo intercepted. Voice ice. "You chose your path. Stay away today." Liam's confusion fractured Mateo further. The boys hugged fierce. "I want both daddies." The plea undid him. Tears flowing in the planetarium's dark. Stars wheeling indifferent. That night, Winefuel called to Alex. "He's breaking. We both are. Fix this, or lose us forever." Alex's voice cracked. I'm trying. Rehab for the patterns, sex addiction group. Please. Wait. Mateo hung up. Uncertainty's tide pulling. Days blurred. Resolve wavering as Liam's drawings multiplied. Broken hearts mended with crayons. Winter's Eve. Snow rare and silent. Alex appeared at the door. Sober-eyed. Let me prove it. One day. For old times. Against wisdom. Mateo agreed. Dinner at their taqueria. Lam's a time machine. Conversation flowed cautious. Then cathartic. Alex owning the void chasing. Mateo voicing exhaustion's toll. Home. No passion. But a hug lingered. Seeds of maybe sown. Spring tiptoed in. Therapy tandem resuming. Dr. Elena nodding approval at progress logs. Dates multiplied. Museum strolls. Liam inclusive picnics. Trust tendrils crept. Fragile but fervent. Summer solstice saw a vow renewal, private. On a San Juan bluff. Liam scattering petals. We choose again, Alex said. And Mateo, heart open, echoed. The renewal's afterglow lingered through summer's lazy haze. A balm on wounds still tender to the touch. Mateo and Alex moved like dancers relearning steps. Cautious spins around landmines of memory. Their loft once more a shared sanctuary rather than a battlefield. Liam thrived in the equilibrium. His chatter a constant current carrying them forward. School projects on volcanoes. Erupting baking soda, like their own, contained explosions. Now diffused into laughter. Mateo's career crested with the housing project's acclaim. Features in Seattle met praising inclusive designs that heal communities. Awards dinners at the Museum of Flight. Tuxedos starched. Alex's hands steady on his back amid flashes and felicitations. Proud doesn't cover it, he whispered during speeches, eyes locking across the room. A silent vow amid the din. Alex's path wounds steadier too. Freelance stabilized with a part-time role at a design co-op in Fremont. Collaborations vetted with transparency. Phones left face up like open books. Group meetings twice weekly. Confessions of addictive pulls shared in circles of scarred souls. Emerging with humility's quiet strength. Family expanded in ripples. Mateo's parents hosting monthly dinners in Bellevue. Giuseppe's grilling evolving to include Alex's Montana brisket rub. Elena's hugs enveloping Liam like cashmere. Even Alex's folks ventured west for a weekend. Awkward at first, his dad's stiff handshake thawing over Seahawks games. Mom baking huckleberry pies that evoked boyhood bittersweet. Yet depth demanded reckoning. Fall's equinox brought a couple's retreat in the Olympics, cabins amid cedars. Workshops on attachment theory led by a soft-spoken therapist named Kai. Days of forest baths. Hands linked on mossy paths. Evenings, journaling triggers. Mateo's abandonment fears rooted in youth's rejections. Alex's validation, hunger from a father's distant gaze. One rain-lashed afternoon. Huddled by a wood stove, they confronted the abyss. I see now how my betrayals echoed his neglect, Alex admitted. Voice smoke rough. Chasing shadows to feel seen. Mateo nodded. Tears carving trails. And I armored up, making you chase harder. We're mirrors, breaking each other to reflect truth. The breakthrough came in tears and embraces. Forgiveness's floodgate creaking open. Return to city lights felt reborn. Routines infused with intention. Weekly check-ins over espresso at Cafe Vita. What's served? What's strained? Queries a liturgy of connection. Liam's world bloomed parallel. First lost tooth under pillow. Tooth fairies dollars sparking debates on capitalist sprites. Soccer league in Magnuson Park. Muddy jerseys and triumphant goals. Daddies cheering from sidelines. Thermoses of cocoa steaming. Holidays layered warmth. Diwali lights with neighbors from the co-op. Rangoli patterns at their door. Thanksgiving potlucks in the Central District. Tables groaning under collards and cannoli. Stories swapped like recipes. Christmas Eve Mass at St. James. Candles flickering on faces. Liam's awe at midnight bells a hush of wonder. Winter's hush deepened introspection. Mateo journaled by window seats. City snow-draped, rare, and reverent. Pen tracing gratitudes. Alex's steady gaze over breakfast. Liam's hugs unsolicited. Alex sketched portraits, family triptychs. Lines capturing essences. Mateo's thoughtful furrow. Liam's impish grin. His own eyes softened by grace. Spring surge brought Liam's school play, a Midsummer Night's Dream. Him as Puck. Mischief incarnate. Rehearsals overlapped Alex's co-op crunch. Tensions simmering in snappish tones. You're buried again, Mateo noted over reheated pad thai. Fork-stabbing noodles. Alex exhaled, setting down his old habits. But I'm pulling back, delegated the deadline. Date night tomorrow. Redemption in action. Reservations at the pink door. Harbor views. Gnocchi pillows light as their lifted moods. Laughter over wine. Dances to live jazz. Home to love-making fervent. Bodies a dialogue of desire and devotion. Yet crisis. Ever the uninvited guest. Knocked in May's mild airs. A call from Rita, the agency. Routine check-in escalating to concern. Anonymous tip. Unstable home environment. Whispers of past separations fueling flags. Home visit scheduled. Scrutiny's microscope looming. Panic gripped like ivy. Choking breaths. Who? Alex demanded. Pacing the kitchen. Liam a playdate. Doesn't matter, Mateo said. Voice steel despite inner quake. We proved them wrong. Live our truth louder. Preparation was a crash course. Therapy notes compiled. Liam's teacher testimonials on his bloom. Photo albums of milestones. Wedding. Renewals. Park days. The visit unfolded clinical. Rita touring rooms. Chatting with Liam over milk and cookies. Love my daddies, he beamed. Drawing a heart home. They fight sometimes, but always make up. Her not approving. Report later. Secure. Attachment affirmed. Tip unsubstantiated. Relief cascaded. But the scare etched caution. Boundaries redrawn. Social media scrubbed. Circle tightened. Summer's interlude healed. Road trip to Montana. Alex's roots a reckoning. Ranchette visits. Wide skies swallowing doubts. Bonfires where Dad Harlan owned past failings. I was blind to your light. Sun, tears watering the earth. Hikes in Glacier. Liam's wonder at Glacier's calving. Family forged in granite's shadow. Return energized. Folles palette vivide. Mateo's promotion to partner. Corner office with sound views. Celebrations at Ivers. Salmon grilled. Toasts to futures. Alex's exhibit at a Soto gallery. Portraits of queer families. Their central draws crowds. Critics lauding intimate revolutions. Liam's 7th birthday anchored joy. Party at Woodland Park Zoo. Penguins parading. Cake smashed with glee. Gifts unwrapped. A telescope for stargazing. Dreams of astronauts whispered. Yet depths undercurrent stirred. Therapy unearthed Mateo's unspoken grief for the child he'd been. Closeted in Catholic schools. Prayers bartered for normalcy. I fear passing that to him, he confided. Dr. Elena listening. Break cycles with visibility, she counseled. Pride floats. Story times, be the mirror he needs. They volunteered at Lambert House. Queer Youth Center. Story hours where Liam read to peers. Normalizing two dad tales. Alex mentored art classes. Brushes dipping into identities fluid and fierce. Winter's solstice circle. Gratitude jar opened. Slips read aloud. Alex's laugh. Liam's hugs. Mateo's strength. Hanukkah menorah kindled beside Advent wreath. Lights a beacon. Crisis flickered minor. Alex's temptation at a conference. Flirtatious email deleted. Confessed immediately. Transparency's my vow, he said. And Mateo, trusting the work, forgave swift. Spring's renewal bloomed literal. Garden plot at the community center. Liam planting seeds, sunflowers stretching toward sun. Mateo's designs incorporated green spaces. Healing havens. Summer hummed harmonious. Barbecues with Lena's crew. Kayaks on Lake Washington. Splashes sinking with sighs of contentment. Anniversaries marked. Grocery store crash revisited. Intentional collision over produce. Laughter echoing original serendipity. Fall's harvest yielded abundance. Pumpkin patches. Hayrides. Liam's school fair, where Alex's booth sold sketches. Proceeds to the center. Mateo's keynote at an architecture symposium. On building families, structures of the heart. Alex in front row. Pride palpable. Yet as leaves fell, a shadow lengthened. Liam's questions deepening. Why do some kids have one mommy and one daddy? Is our special? Bedtime talks unfolded honest. Every family's unique. Like snowflakes. Ours is built on love, stronger for the shaping. Winter's embrace warmed inward. Holiday cards designed by Alex. Sent to far-flung kin. Bridges mended. New Year's at home. Resolutions etched in snow on the balcony. Deeper roots. Crisis, when it came, was internal, a nightmare's grip on Mateo. Waking sweat slick. Betrayal's ghost clawing. Alex held him through it. Whispers of here. Now. Us. Therapy mined the residue. Emerging lighter. Spring tiptoed with Liam's first loose tooth sequel. Fairy's note poetic. Summer's cusp. Family portrait session at Gasworks. Kites aloft. Frames capturing wholeness. Through it, love's narrative wove resilient. Joys amplified. Arguments alchemized to growth. Mateo, surveying his life's elevation, saw not perfection, but profundity, a structure enduring, because chosen daily. Years folded like blueprints into sheaves. Time's architect drafting additions to their story with inexorable grace. Liam, now 10, shot up like a young oak. Lanky limbs and a voice cracking toward manhood. His room a constellation of model rockets and graphic novels. Dreams orbiting STEM fairs and soccer fields. The loft, once a crash pad for two, expanded via Mateo's renovations, a second bedroom converted to a studio for Alex. Walls lined with easels and light boxes. A sanctuary for creation amid chaos. Mateo's firm burgeoned. Partnerships with nonprofits yielding eco-homes in Rainier Valley. Designs that whispered welcome to immigrant families. Rooftops greened like Hope's Vern Crown. Accolades mounted, panels at AIA conferences. His name in Dwell spreads, but successes shine paled against evening's home, where Liam's debates on climate justice over veggie tacos outshone spotlights. Alex's art evolved. Galleries in Portland and Vancouver showcasing series on accidental kinships, portraits of adoptive families, their own woven in as cornerstone. Teaching gigs at Cornish College infuse purpose. Students' raw visions mirroring his once fractured path. Balance held. Temptations tamed by routine's anchor. Morning runs along the boulevard. Breaths sinking to podcasts on mindfulness. Their marriage. A living edifice. Whether microquakes, Mateo's sabbatical stress. Sketching urban farms till dawn. Alex's exhibit slumps. Ego bruised by critiques. Arguments flared over Liam's screen time. A forgotten anniversary hike, but de-escalated swift. Therapy's tools at hand, timeouts for breath. I feel statements bridging chasms. Liam's adolescence dawned subtle. Crushes confessed in whispers. First on a classmate named Kai. Confusions tangle, prompting talks on fluidity. Love's a spectrum, Mateo explained over ice cream at full tilt. Cones dripping like tentative tears. Whoever lights your world. We're here, Alex nodded, sharing his Montana coming out, normalizing the navigation. Pride season amplified visibility, floats in rainbow regalia. Liam waving from their perch. Signs reading love builds. After parties at the loft. Neighbors spilling onto the balcony. Stories swapped under string lights. Community a quilt stitched from shared threads. Fall's rhythm pulsed with back-to-school vigils. Parent nights at Liam's middle school, where teachers praised his empathy. Forged in families forge. Harvest festivals at Pike Place. Pumpkins hefted. Cider pressed. Mateo and Alex stealing kisses amid the throng. Hands laced like vows renewed. Winter's introspection deepened bonds. Hanukkah gatherings with Theo's expanding brood. Dreidels spinning fortunes. Rossi family feasts. Giuseppe's stories of Ellis Island now laced with pride for my boy's boy. New Year's rituals evolved. Gratitude bonfire in the backyard fire pit. Slips burned to ash. Intentions whispered to smoke. Courage. Connection. Compassion. Crisis. When it shadowed. Was Liam's, a schoolyard bully slur, freak family, landing like a sucker punch. The boy retreating to his room. Door barricaded. Mateo knelt outside. Voice soft through wood. Hey, warrior. Bullies bark loudest from fear. You're our supernova, bright. Bold. Alex joined. Sketchpad slipped under door. A cartoon hero. Cape flowing. Emblazoned Liam Harlan Rossi, unbreakable. Dinner that night was fort food, pizza delivered to blanket bastions, tales of their own taunts turning to triumphs. Counseling followed. School interventions. The harmer's parents looped in. Ripples of understanding spreading. Spring's thaw brought Liam's bar, mitzvah planning, blended right at a progressive synagogue in Madrona. Torah portions memorized amid Hebrew apps and Italian flashcards. Ceremony day, kippah perched on curls. Voice steady reciting blessings. Community encircling like roots. Reception at the loft. Klezmer band jamming with guitar riffs. Toasts to a man who mends worlds. Summer's wanderlust called cross-country drive. Route 66 echoes in a rented RV. Liam at the wheel, metaphorically. Playlist of Springsteen and Billie Holiday. Stops at Grand Canyon rims. Echoes of vastness mirroring inner expanses. Chicago deep dish dives. Architecture tours where Mateo geeked on Frank Lloyd Wright. Alex sketching Burnham's legacies. Return heralded change. Liam's request for a name tweak. Harlan Rossi hyphenated official. Identity claimed. Falls cusp saw high school editions. Theater dreams budding. Callbacks landing leads in Rent. Parallels poignant. Queer anthems belted under lights. Parents in front row. Tears proud. Yet maturity's mirror reflected on Mateo and Alex. Empty nest whispers as Liam's independence flowered. Sleepovers. Bike commutes. Date nights reclaimed. Wine tastings at Columbia Winery. Bodies rediscovering in boutique hotels. Passions fire-banked but eternal. Crisis crested subtle. Alex's health scare. A routine check flagging irregular heartbeat. Cardiologist's orders for stress tests. Waiting room vigils. Mateo's hand in his. Liam's text from school, "You got this." Dad. Diagnosis. Manageable arrhythmia. Lifestyle tweaks, yoga. Reduced caffeine, but the brush with mortality sharpened focus. Priorities etched anew. Recovery wove gratitude. Family hikes in Cougar Mountain. Breaths measured. Views expansive. Alex's art turned introspective. Canvases of pulses. Lines ebbing like heartbeats. Exhibited as rhythms of resilience. Winter's grace gifted perspective. Liam's first romance. Awkward handholds with Kai at winter formal. Daddy's advice over Coco. Listen more than lead. Holidays hummed harmonious. Traditions treasured. Spring's bloom saw Mateo's legacy project. A community center expansion. Named Harlan Rossi Haven. Cornerstone laid with Liam's handprint in concrete. Summer's symphony. Family cruise to Alaska. Glaciers calving like applause. Whales breaching in benediction. As autumn leaves turned, Liam's college essays loomed. Drafts on accidental families. Building from collision. Mateo read. Heart swelling. Revisions gentle. Acceptance letters piled. UW. Architecture like his dad. Or RISD for Alex's artistic vein. Winter solstice circle closed a decade. Jar overflows. Gratitude's read. Liam's launch. Alex's art. Mateo's maps. New Year's dawn. Balcony vows whispered. Endure. Evolve. Embrace. Crisis's final echo. Liam's coming out. Casual over breakfast pancakes. Kai and I. It's real. And I'm by. I think. Silence bloomed to hugs. Pride's rainbow unfurling. Our boys flying, Alex murmured. And Mateo nodded. Tears, joy's lubricant. Years later, at Liam's wedding, vows to Kai under Seattle rains. Cleared to sun, the cycle completed. Mateo, gray at temples, Alex's hand in his. Watch their son build his own edifice. Joy shared. Arguments alchemized to anecdotes. Love's accident, a foundation unshakable. In quiet evenings now, grocery runs still spark memories, carts colliding playful, oranges rolling like laughter. They've shared it all, spills and spills of heart, raising a child who soars because they learned to mend wings together. Life's narrative, dramatic and tender, affirms from chance meetings bloom enduring homes, where arguments forge stronger bonds, and joys illuminate the human weave.